Hello, and welcome to NPR Voice Levels. I am Jimmy, your host,
This is Steve.
And I am Sam.
and today we are discussing what is your ideal fall day. Sam, why don't you start us off?
Well, I must say the ideal fall day is crisp. Not quite cold, but crisp.
What temperature range would you say that is?
Well, the thing is that perception of temperature and actual temperature, if you think about it, are two very different things. So when I say crisp, I think we all have a thought in our mind as to what that is, that we personally interpret crisp to be.
But surely there would be a number that we can give out.
Well, I can't tell you what crisp is any more than you can tell me what crisp is.
Does crisp require you to wear a sweater or a jacket?
Oh, not a sweater or jacket, merely a nice plaid shirt.
So you wear an extra layer, and I'm assuming you're wearing pants instead of shorts?
Oh, precisely. Can't wear
Gotcha.
shorts and fall, my friend.
Very thoughtful answer to that question, Sam.
Thank you.
When you say crisp, it conjures up images of crackling leaves. It's a very audible description, I must say. I also think of a sunny day on an ideal autumn day.
Mm-hmm.
It's important not to have an overcast because you will be reminded of the cooler side of crisp rather than the more comfortable, if not warmer, side of crisp.
Precisely.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And crisp, again, is also probably the ideal word to describe the perfect fall day, because what else comes to your mind on fall other than crisp temperatures?
An interesting thought, it may be the exact same temperature in a spring day, but we would never call spring day crisp, would we?
No. We would probably say it's a little more comfortable because you're coming out of winter. But, crisp, it describes, the temperature outside, the fall leaves that have dropped from the trees, a crisp apple that is recently ripened.
Precisely. You bring me actually to the point I hope to mention as well. A nice, crisp autumn day must include cider and donuts.
Apple cider and donuts is perfect for the perfect fall day.
A nice, perfect apple is going to be firm, yet juicy. It's going to respect the grip. It's going to gush in your mouth upon the first bite.
And preferably, it will have a very satisfying, crisp crunch to it.
Yes, contrasted with the sumptuous donut, it melts in your mouth. Warm feelings down your throat.
Firm, yet still a little soft.
Sam, any thoughts?
Well, the best ones have the white filling.
Are you talking about eclairs?
Yes.
I do not think of eclairs when I think of a crisp autumn day.
No, I would think of a good cinnamon-coated donut. Now, what is your favorite cinnamon-coated donut? You've got the fine dusting of cinnamon on the outside where, the focus is on the spice. Whereas they also have a cinnamon brown sugar blend that they coat their donuts with too.
In fact, the last few years, I've actually become a big fan of pumpkin donuts. Now, that takes a left turn off your proposed question, but I must admit it is maybe even more of an autumn treat in my eyes.
Oh, definitely.
Steve makes a good point about the passage of time. When I was a child, I thought and acted as a child, and thus I enjoyed the more sugar-covered options. Now I favor the blend, as it is less intrusive in its flavor.
Yes. Now,
Indeed.
Now, how do you feel about dipping your donuts into your apple cider?
Wasteful, personally. I think a cider should be able to stand on its own and not need any overflow or glaze residue from the donut. In fact, it tampers with and compromises that integrity.
Acceptable for others who wish to do it, though I find the mess to be excessive myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Personally, I never dip. I think the donut should be moist enough on its own. It is a cake, and the worst kind of cake is a dry cake.
Oh, yes.
Indeed.
Now, we're talking about fall. would your ideal fall day involve watching football? The season is in full swing in the middle of the autumn.
It would. In fact, the ideal way to watch football would to be outside. So if you can have someone set up a television, a digital receiver, that way you can enjoy and consume the fall weather while not giving up the pastime of watching a football game.
Now, I must confess that here I differ with Steve in that I actually do listen to NPR and thus do not watch sports. Though I have nothing against those who do, of course. Vital to American culture, sports has always been.
It's vital to all cultures, really.
True, but they're not American and thus less important.
Yes.
So perhaps the consumption of football may not interest you, but Sam, on a nice fall day, someone brought a football outside and we're tossing it around. Would you care to join in?
Would you toss the ball with the boys, Sam?
I must confess that football's never been my strength. Baseball I've had some skill with, oddly given the amount of my height, not particularly skilled with basketball.
Well, having fun with your friends has nothing to do with skill, Sam.
That's true. That's our lesson of the day, everyone. Having fun with friends has nothing to do with skill.
Now, something that may be fun to do with friends, but I think we can all agree is not very fun, raking leaves. Now, that's an autumn-specific chore. Does anyone have any thoughts on leaf raking, or are you more of a leaf blower owner?
Well, again, speaking of youth, then I quite enjoyed it, the frolicking in leaves, as I believe most of us did in those days. But now, like many things that were enjoyable as a child, I now see more as a task to be completed, quickly as possible. So now, leaf blowers I do very much prefer. Oddly, I enjoy leaf blowers. They're quite fun. It's quite fun.
Now, I'm a little unorthodox when it comes to raking the leaves. I've got my parents' yard has many, many trees in it, and we get just way too many leaves. And raking all those leaves gets very tiresome very quickly. Frolicking the leaves became almost a chore in and of itself as a child, just because I knew how much work was going to have to be done later on. So I like to obliterate the leaves by taking the lawnmower over them and just mulching it, which I believe actually provides some nutrients to my lawn, making it greener for the coming spring.
A savage attitude, but like you said, perhaps the most environmentally sound of all of our...
And there is some beauty to taking dead leaves to give life to the soil.
Now, in wading through the dead leaves, it's quite important to have proper footwear. Does anyone have an ideal choice of autumn footwear? Personally, I prefer Clark's boots. Very comfortable.
I would say a thinner boot, not too thick to overly warm your feet, but something high enough where you're not getting leaves in your shoes, but you're still able to move around freely, playing football with the boys, or going out on picnics, or going to the apple orchard.
Ah, yes, the apple orchard.
All part of the ideal fall day. The fall has 2 holidays. Would either of those holidays fall into your ideal fall day?
Well, they can't both, unfortunately.
That's true. You'll have to pick one.
The one, I assume, you're thinking I'll choose, I will not choose, and so I will say Columbus Day.
That is a good choice. Banks are closed.
They're actually not.
Oh, no.
Yes, this is no longer... A little inside baseball, fellas. How this works, interestingly enough, is that the Federal Reserve is closed that day, and thus transactions are not completed until the following day. However, they are submitted to be completed. I know, folks. Shocking stuff.
I feel a bit of my world crashing down upon me. I withdraw my answer of Columbus Day as the perfect autumn holiday. I will take a step back from this microphone, collect my thoughts. Please, fellas, continue. Do not mind me. I will be lightly sobbing, but do not mind me.
All right. Well, I would say for me personally that my preferred fall holiday would be Halloween. I'm not stuck talking to family members that I'd rather not be around. Halloween is for the boys, and more importantly, it's for sweets.
A little spooky, though.
A little spooky, but that's all part of the fun.
Ha-ha!
Well, folks, that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you all for listening, and please wait for the next episode.
Happy Columbus Day.